Welcome to a short video of tips and tricks for working with deer rawhide. It has been debated whether or not deer is suitable for hackamores, bozals, horse tack, fine braided goods. So I challenged myself to build a handful of different styles of bozals, hackamores, from a double cheek to a braided core and some others. And I want to share with you some of the things that are working well for me. Here's my deer hide pegged to a board. I'm going to let that dry and then spray it down just a little bit with water and bag it. I use a strap cutter and I cut from neck to tail because that has the least amount of stretch when you cut the hide in that direction. You can hear the sound of the blade cutting through this hide. You can hear that it's really quite dry. And that is the first secret working with deer rawhide, is keeping it as dry as possible. If you've tried working with deer before, you may notice that if it gets too wet, it becomes incredibly mushy and stretchy. Also, I recommend that you just cut that entire usable area in strips all the same width. And that way you can spray them down with some liquid glycerin saddle soap and bag them overnight before going any further trying to work with them. You can hear how dry these strips are. They kind of click together. And I'm happy with this spray-on glycerin saddle soap. It seems to add the right amount of water and also helps everything slide well when I go to split it and bevel it. So we're going to bag this up in a Ziploc, toss it in the fridge, and not even think about working with it until it's sat at least one night in the refrigerator. Here's how I split deer. I bend it around a really tight angle. Len Ewell came up with this idea, so my strand is bending around that metal ruler that you see upright, and the blade is near it. This is the most successful way to split deer. You can just kind of knock off the membrane and level it to as thick as possible while being even throughout. Your strand is going to stretch just a little bit, but by cutting it from head to tail, that limits the amount of stretch. This could be a body string, and if that's the case, I might pull it through my beveling tool here and take off as little of the width as possible as I bevel it. That'll give me some nice body strings for an 8-strand round braid with no core. So here's a view of the raw strip and the strand next to it after being split and beveled. If you're doing smaller string though, my favorite way to handle it is to just bevel by hand. So these are some little button strings. It doesn't take too long. Again, you hear my sharp blade and it's going past that deer hide and it's making a bit of a scratchy sound. I try to keep it as dry as possible and only allow a little bit of liquid saddle soap or moisture to keep it from being stiff as a board. In this picture, you've got body strands and then 2 bozal cores, so you can see the amount of length you lose. Here's a close-up of those body strands. You can also braid over the top of it and you'll still have enough length for a hackamore. If you want to dye your string, go ahead and wrap it around a PVC pipe grain side down and it'll dry without curling. This is a nice buck hide that I got some great body strings out of for this double pencil bozal. This button string was dyed with soil. I had a hide that was in the creek and got dirty. And here's one of the finished double pencil bozals on my horse. Thanks for watching.